welcome to Starting to Style an Alastor wig. Now, this is a wig from Epic Cosplay Wigs. This is a Hera in dark red, I believe. I don't remember. But you may be like, hey, why is this wig so long? Well, this whole thing is going to get cut, and then this part of the wig is going to get turned into the little ears. So I'm going to cut it and then glue all the rest of the hair onto the ear thing. Trust the process. The first step is I gotta texturize this whole thing. So that's going to be the first thing that I do to this wig to turn it into Alastor. You'll notice that I'm switching between in-clip audio and voiceover throughout this thing. Yeah, sometimes I talk, sometimes I'm recording in high speed, so you'll hear some voiceover here and there. It is finally all texturized. Now I gotta do the same thing to a black wig that I'll be using for the wefts that also go in this wig. So, round two. So this is the old wig that I'm going to be harvesting black wefts from. It's an old Arda wig. I don't really remember where I got this when I don't know, this is old. If I wasn't using a wig from my stash, I would have bought black wefts and be doing the same thing to those wefts as this old wig. I already had this and I'm not using it for anything, so I might as well harvest it for Alastor. Wig has been texturized, so now to take it apart. Yay. To take the wefts out of the wig, I'm literally just taking a seam ripper and ripping all the stitches out of the wefts and taking them off the elastic. That's all I'm doing here. And then I end up splicing a bottom of another black wig and then adding the wefts. And now I have a whole big pile of leftover wefts. So this is still very much in a trust the process state. I have spliced black wefts and part of a black wig that I still had from another project onto the bottom here. And I've cut the red most of the way. It's got to be cut and trimmed and everything into the bob that Alastor has. But I think that's it for wefting, and now I gotta engineer the top. I gotta engineer the ears, so I'm gonna cut out some pink foam and start getting those shapes done so I can get the hair glued onto there. And yeah, this is gonna be messy for a while. To make the bases for what I'm calling the ears, the spiky bits off the wig, I'm using pink foam and polyester batting. I cut the pink foam into a shape smaller than what I want because I'm going to be adding batting, which is going to make it wider, and then I'm going to be adding wig wefts on top of that, which is also going to make it wider. So the pink foam is the core of this structure. I'm just making sure that they're even, and then I'm just hot gluing this poly batting that I actually had left over for another wig project. So reduce, reuse, reclickly, and putting all that batting on so it's nice and soft, and I'm not gluing the foam onto a hard understructure. And then I'm just going to start gluing the wefts on. Oh yeah, and I made an understructure out of Warbler and aluminum rod to hold up the ear things. So that's underneath the wig. I'm gluing all the wefts on to these ear pieces with UHU glue, which is gel super glue, which I discovered is gel super glue because I had never used this glue before and I'd always seen people using it, and I was like, what the hell kind of glue is this? It's gel super glue. And it's going to look pretty ratchet until I get all of the hair on there. And yeah, just glue, hairspray, gel, all the things. Do that. Repeat. Here's where I'm at. I'm working on these things. They're coming together. I got some red gluing together so I can cover this in red and add all the details and everything. And the wig is off in the corner. So this is where I'm at. So I've done pretty structured wigs before, but I've never done wigs that have things that really stick up really far from the base structure. So this was a learning curve, and I'd never done something like this before. I've done heavily spiked wigs, but I've done the heavy spiking with the wig fiber and not with any base structure. So yeah, this was a learning curve, but I think it came out pretty well in the end. And yeah, sometimes you'll see me wearing a respirator because this glue does smell, and sometimes I'm not. Always wear it. Don't do what I do. Do as I say. Always wear the respirator when you don't know what the fumes are. And this is how it started to turn out. And then I started adding separate spikes. So I glued wig fiber onto the base, and then I glued separate spikies onto the base as well. And I like how it looks. If you don't like it, you can make it different, but this is how I made it. Now that the ear things are done, it is time to move on to styling the bangs for Alastor and cutting the fuck-ass bob, which he has. For the bangs, I'm actually going to go through and do more texturing on the bang part. I did add an initial amount of texture with the crimping iron, but I want the bangs to have hella texture. So I am going to go in and tease the ever-living crap out of the front part of this wig. That adds more texture without adding lines to it. And you can leave a little bit of the teasing in to make the bangs even teasier, so to speak. So it's going to look really, really wild. And then I'm going to brush it all out. And then I'm going to section all of the pieces out once I'm done brushing it out. So what I do is I go through and figure out how much hair I'm going to put into each of the spikes in the front. I do that. I section it all out. Make sure I like where the hair is going to be going and section it all out before I start to spike it. Now, in the teasing process, I've already put hairspray in there, so there's already hairspray in the wig. I might add a little bit more, but that makes it so that it's very easy to steam into place as I'm going. I'm going to make a little adjustments, add a little bit more hairspray here and there, but for the most part, the hairspray has already been added, and this series of clips is pretty funny because you just see the steam going here everywhere. So steam, steam, steam. And then here comes the cut. This took so long because it is such a precise haircut. I'm not used to doing that kind of haircut in a wig. And because I used an underlayer of black and red over instead of airbrushing on the wig, I had to make sure that the red was thinned out and the edges were going to lay over the black nicely and not look like very disjointed in two completely separate layers. This took me a while. And a lot of fiddling and a lot of hairspray and steaming and making sure that this looked nice. This took a while. And then I didn't film gluing the ears on, but I literally just glommed a whole bunch of hot glue on the base of the ear and shoved it on the spike. And there is a glue underneath the wig holding that warbler understructure to the wig. Again, it's just hot glue holding it together. And here is the finished product. It came out real nice. I'm really happy with it. It took probably 15 to 17 hours to make this whole thing. And I did that over the course of a couple of days. Today was a big push day. And I finished it, and here's the finished product, and I'm really happy with it. So I hope you enjoyed this little making of video. Bye!